Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell and to check out the join membership option.
Alright guys, so welcome to this video, and today we will be working on this game once again. So obviously a tower defense video again for you guys. So you have been loving this series very lately, and I'm amazed of your support. So you have been showing me a massive amount of support, an insane amount of support, guys, and thank you for that, first of all. And if you consider yourself as a part of this community, then comment #bosses, guys. Okay, now, with that being said, let's get right into this video. So, the topic for today is, first of all, I planned on doing some small changes regarding the tower placement. So, let me demonstrate you guys on what I'm talking about. So, as you can see, once you try to place a tower, the tower is following the mouse in a delayed way. Okay, so we want this not to be as delayed as it is right now. So you want the tower to be near the mouse, or maybe on the mouse. So it depends on what you want to do. And this is the small change on which I was talking about. And the next thing is that I want to create some kind of leveling system for our tower. So we will be laying some kind of base for future videos today. So base of leveling the towers and making them stronger, giving them stats, and making them have different attacks, all of that stuff. And yeah, so that was my plan for today, and let's get started with our small change we want to make. So in order to make the tower follow the mouse faster, or even be on the mouse, all we need to do is we will need to go inside of, is it this one? Yeah, okay, so it is this one. So we need to go inside of this guy right here, and we want to check for this thing. So for this property right here. Okay, as you can see, things are becoming more slower, and this is what we want to do. So actually diminishing this or reducing this makes it follow our mouse more. Okay. Now there's this bug. So as you can see, he's like glitching around. And in order to fix that, we just want the tower's Y position to be a bit more. And in order to achieve that, we will need to take some changes inside of that local script, which is responsible for the placement. Okay, so memorize that D property right here, and let's change it. So D is 750. And the next thing is that we need to go inside of this tower GUI right here, because we have got our placement inside. And there we go. So this is our placement thing. And this is the line in which we set the tower's position to follow our mouse. And now we just want to put a +1 on our Y value, so the tower actually is above our mouse and stops glitching. Okay, so I think that one is not enough. So let's maybe change that to 2.53, probably something like that should do. Let's see, guys, let's see. So let's put this to 2, and there we go. So this is a lot more better. So it is still glitching around a little, but it is better than before, to be honest. So we will keep it this way at first. Now also okay, so as you guys just have seen, the towers have been placed a bit more above than usual, and we don't want it to be that way as well. And in order to prevent that, all we need to do is we need to go inside of this tower script right here and do some changes right here. So as you guys just have seen, I have deleted the thing after, and I just want to test out how it looks like when I do it that way. So do not copy that change, but doesn't seem to be that wrong. So go back inside of the tower script, and instead just do factor 3.new 0.50. So we are reducing the height of the tower a little, so the feet actually touch the ground, feet of our tower. Okay, so this is pretty fine, I guess. So let's just keep it this way. Okay, so that's it with changing this small thing. And why this guy glitched? Okay, that needs to be changed as well. Okay, so this obviously has to do with the attacking. So we need to go inside of this dummy right here, and okay, I see. So there's this origin part from the last episode, which is causing this trouble. So just go inside of this tower script again, and right here, where it says origin part, just apply the same thing. So reduce the height by 0.5, and now this should work fine. So now even after attacking, tower should still be in place. Let's see if this has worked. Okay, so that works. Alright guys, so now to the next thing I want to do. So, I'm sorry. Okay, we still want to do that leveling thing, and that is going to be a bit more complicated, of course, but let's just get right into it without any further talking, guys. So what we want to do first of all is create a folder inside of that tower and call this stats. Now inside of the set folder, we will create many values, well, not many, but some values which represent the tower's stat. So values like level or attack, or I mean damage, and speed or attacks per second. So level, is one thing, then damage. Okay. Damn, what is happening, guys? Damage and attacks per second. So attacks per second. And we want this tower to be level 1 at first, and we want the damage to be, let's put it to 5, and the attacks per second, let's put them to, how many do we have right now? So wait, 2. Okay, so must be 0.5, I guess. Yeah, so it must be 0.5, but okay, so is that unable to cast string 2. Okay. So this attacks per second needs to be a number value, I think. Attacks per second. So an integer value is not able to store decimal numbers. Decimal numbers is that the way to pronounce them? So values or numbers which carry a comma. So integer values are not able to store them, and therefore we will need to make use of this number value right here, guys. So that's the point behind of that. And so these are our stats. And now we want to create the following. So every time we hover, or yeah, so hover on our tower, we want some kind of stat GUI appear on the head of our tower. So that was my plan. And in order to do that, add a billboard GUI inside of the humanoid root part. Let's call this thing stats. And then add a text button inside. Let's call this thing, let's just call it BTN for button. And let me put this, so copy this thing and let's put it inside of here, or at least I will do that just for testing purposes. So make sure that this thing is always on top, otherwise this is just going to be awful. And let's change the size, of course. Let's of course change the size much more, so this is obviously not going to be enough. Okay, so this is much better. Let's change it a little more, and okay, so this is pretty fun, I guess. Now change the button size, of course, so make it look like this. Make it transparent. Make this text field right here just empty, and then insert a local script. And I just want to make a short test, so I'm not even sure about it. So I'm not even sure if this will work as I just imagine it. So what we just want to do is, so script.parent, so script refers to our script right here. Parent is this text button. And that mouse enter is some kind of event. So once the mouse has entered, a function right here, so inside of these, so in line 2, will be run. We just want to print out something, so let's print out worked. And I'm not even sure about whether this will work or not. So this is my first time doing this. Okay, and oh, my bad. So it just fell right through the ground. Okay. Let's make the humanoid root part collidable, just to prevent this from happening. And why is he still falling to the ground? Oh, he's right here. Oh, because of this body position, probably. Okay. This is weird. So let's get rid of this body position. Okay, there we go. And it of course does not work for some reason, guys. Come on, why isn't this working? Let me put it somewhere else. Let me put it inside of the head. And it still does not work. Okay, so let me try to find some other way. Okay, so I just have read some stuff about it and this does not seem to work, so let's just get rid of this. Let's instead add a click detector which makes a GUI pop up which contains all of the tower's stats. Let's just make that instead, because checking for mouse entered on a billboard GUI does not seem to work for a good reason, and so if that's the case, then let's just go on with this, guys. So what we need to do is, of course, add a click detector inside of the humanoid root part or somewhere else, so depends on what you prefer, but if you like put it inside of the player's left hand, then you would need to click the left hand. Okay, so keep that in mind. So create this click detector, then create a script inside, and now script.parent. So script and parents. So our click detector, we are referring to our click detector right here. Then mouse click. Oh, wait, we could. Wait. What was that? Mouse. Okay, so that. Oh. Alright, so this is getting interesting. So we have this event right here, mouse over enter, and this could be pretty helpful. So this could be a solution for our issue from before. Let's just check if this works fine, first of all. Because if this thing works, then we can still make use of the billboard GUI, guys, so we do not have to rely on some other method I was planning on doing. So as you can see, it works. Okay, it works. Okay, perfect, guys. Very good. Let's re-add this billboard GUI right here. Make it always on top, and get rid of this button right here. Okay, now let's add a frame. So now we will design the stats GUI. So we'll need some kind of background. There we go. There we go, guys. Now let's make it look like this. Add some of these. Tower name. So on top we will have the tower's name displayed. So let's make this a bit more smaller because this is obviously too much. Okay. There we go. So this is pretty fun. And now let's move on with displaying the stats. So level in the first place. Okay, so this will be our upgrade button. Now some words to these things right here. So tower name is pretty obvious, so this will obviously display our tower's name, and level, damage, attacks per second. So these will represent the values inside of here. Okay, so these values right here will be displayed right here. And now the next thing is our upgrade button. So we will put it down here, and this will allow the player to upgrade the tower and make the tower just overall stronger. So raise level or increase level, increase damage, and increase the attacks per second. So this was my plan on that. And in future episodes, of course, we will get to feeding towers with, so we will actually make some kind of tower inventory and feeding that towers, maybe selling them, even selling them, and yeah, so just making the towers have some kind of base stats, so base stats which the player can upgrade depending on how the player prefers to update it, of course. So these are my plans for the future, but this is still in the future, and there is still more episodes to do in order to reach that point. Okay, so let's add this. Okay. There we go. Now let's change the text a little, and then we are good to go. Alright. So this looks fancy. Let's see how it looks like when we start to test things out. And there we go. So is this even clickable? Okay, so I might have just inserted a text box instead of a text button. Okay, so it is a text button. Okay, and well, I do not use Billboard GUIs that often, so could it be that text buttons or text box even are like unable to be used? So I'm very curious about it. So let me see. Current mouse button on click connect function clicked. So am I even able to use this text button? Because this is like inside of a Billboard GUI, and I don't think that the client or local scripts work inside of these Billboard GUIs. Okay, so doesn't seem to work, guys. Alright, now there's some other method we could try doing. So set the Adorny property to humanoid root part, and move this whole thing inside of our starter GUI. And let's see if this thing works now. And yeah, so I think that, alright, yeah, so it does work fine. And that's good, and that's pretty good. Okay, so that's good. Now, add a local script inside. So we will make this client-sided. So when we make this client-sided, an advantage is that when you like make this whole stats GUI visible, that only you are able to see it, so no other player is able to see it. And this is a advantage, or an advantage in my opinion, because otherwise any other player would be able to see it, and it might interrupt the gameplay. And in other tower defense games, or in other top, how do you call it? So in other ROBLOX page top tower defense games, that feature is also implemented, so you're not able to see your friends tower stats. Okay, and so let's just do that as well. Therefore, at this local script right here, then let's do local CD. So CD stands for click detector, and script parent. So this is just testing again. I'm not even sure if this will work. So parent Adorny parent click detector. No, not click detector. Okay, so I think that there is access given. Mouse over enter, connect function, then script parent active So let me just script this first of all, and if this works, then I will explain it in detail. Mouse overlay. So I wasn't sure about if it actually was mouse overlay. All right. Now let's go back to this tower right here. This delete this script and no uncheck this enabled property right here and change this active thing to enabled. So I was messing these things up. Okay, now let's see if this works. So my plan is to check or to implement a client-side check, which just checks if we are hovering over that click detector, and it seems to work, guys, and that's good. So there's still this issue. Okay, so we are unable to click this thing, as you can see, and there's a fix to that, I think. So let's implement a quick fix for that, and then I will explain you this short script. Okay, so this works fine now, and just let me explain very briefly what this does. So cd gets access to our click detector. So script is this local script right here, then parent is our frame, parent again is our stats, and then adornee is this adornee property right here, which refers to the humanoid root part right here. And then we are just getting access to the click detector, which is a child of this humanoid root part. And what we're doing here is we're just accessing the click detector's casual or basic events. So mouse hover enter. So if the mouse has hovered into it, then we are checking for this enabled value right here. So this enabled value is some kind of cooldown, and if that thing is false, then we just move on with this. So we are enabling our stats GUI, so the stats GUI of the tower, and then setting this enabled value to true. And once the player moves out of that click detector's radius or range, Then we want to check if the enabled value is true, which it is. So if the player enters it, then it is true. And if the player leaves it, then we want it to be true, of course, which it is by default. So in most cases, it will be true. And if that requirement is met, then we wait 2 seconds after disabling that GUI and turning the enabled value back to false. So you can change that too in order to make the stats GUI above the tower last longer after the player has moved out the mouse of that click detector's or the tower's range. Okay. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to so add another value inside of here and call it string value. And let's call this thing owner. Call it none first of all, so because this thing has no owner by default. And this owner will of course be replaced with the player's name once the tower has been placed, which is being handled inside of this tower script right here. So we want to, so this is actually quite difficult. Let me think about it for a moment. Okay, so I think that we actually will not need this owner thing right here, so I've thought about it, and there's another method on doing this, okay? So the most important thing is, of course, wait. So the most important thing is that click detector and this stats GUI right here. And I think that we should, like, first of all, create a folder inside of this starter GUI, which stores all of these stat GUIs inside. And now I will just put this inside of here. And then let's first of all check how this will work out. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so the Ordoni was still set to this one's humanoid root part, which is false, or which is not what we want to. And yeah, so this is it. Okay. Okay, so this is pretty difficult. Now, delete this Adorni thing right here and put this inside of the replicated storage guys. Now, the next thing we want to do is go inside of this monitor script right here. And so this is the part where we place the whole thing. Now, let's create, or let's, okay, so let's clone this stats thing right here. Let's clone it. And let's put it inside of this tower thing right here. Also, make sure it is, yeah, disabled, as it is right here. So let's copy this thing, okay, so local stats GUI, then game get service, replicated storage, so we are referring to the replicated storage right here. And then wait for child, stats flow. Then we want to put this thing inside of our tower folder right here, so we do stats.gui.parent, so we give it a new parent, and then script parent tower. So script is our local script right here, parent is the frame, parent is that storage GUI, and then the parent is the starter GUI right here, and tower is of course this tower script right here. And so now let's get back to this tower script. So this is responsible for the placement. So for the actual placement of that thing. And let's perform a remote fire client player as the first argument, and the second argument is the tower. Now let's get back to our monitor script. And let's actually put this code somewhere else. So let's do a remote on client event. So this obviously is for fire client. So this event gets triggered or fires when a fire client is being performed. Tower. Okay, and that's GUI enabled. True. That's GUI Adorni tower humanoid root part. Hopefully this works. So let's check if this works. Attempt to index null if okay. So this is actually an issue. I don't think that we're able to pass the tower as an instance for this fire client. Therefore, we need to do something else. Alright, so we need to use some other method in order to do this. So this is pretty frustrating, guys. Really. Let's just see how we can manage to do this. So let's create it before this whole thing needs to be placed, okay? Let's give it a certain name. So we will give this stats GUI a certain name. So our script later, after this whole thing has been fire servered, can look for that certain name and take action. Okay, so this is my plan, and let's hope that this goes well, guys. So otherwise, whole thing would just go crazy. Okay, so what kind of name could we give this thing? So it needs to be pretty unique. let's give it a unique name. Then. So let's give it the name of the tower first of all. So the tower, in addition to random numbers. So let's do that. I think that this is a cool idea. Let's put it as the fourth argument. So later in our tower script, we can like easily do the following. So select UI layer GUI tower find first child value 4. And if stats GUI was found, stats GUI's adornee should be the tower's humanoid root part. And this whole thing should be fire servered. Telling the whole thing to enable the scripts. So I admit that this might look very complicated and you guys probably are confused right now, but I promise once this whole thing works, I will go through this. So let me just test out some things right here. Okay, there we go. Attempt to index null with. Okay, so the adornee hasn't been set for a certain reason. Okay, so it has been found. Now the question is the server script even able to access the player's GUI? So why is this so difficult, guys? Player GUI. Or so the stats, the stat GUI's name is being passed. Okay, but the server is not able to look inside of it. And that's the issue, guys. So we somehow need to pass the tower as an instance. But how do we do that? Maybe we could like give the tower a unique name. So apply that unique name thing on the tower as well. And then So this is actually the last chance, guys. So if this does not work, then I really have no idea. So I'm out of ideas if this does not work either. Attempt to index no. Why? Why? Fire client. Okay. So let's disable the script right here for a moment, and then stats GUI frame. Let's rename this to monitor. Click detector is not a valid member of. Okay. So this whole thing works, but I forgot to add this thing right here. So we want the door need to be set to the tower's humanoid root part, not the tower itself. But this whole thing works, guys, and I'm very fine. I'm very happy about it. And finally, guys, finally. Whew, this was quite difficult, but we've managed to do that. Very nice, guys. So we still have some minutes left, and I would like to cover up the that representing of the tower stats. I would like to cover that up very quickly now in the last minutes. Or so let me first of all explain what I just have done, guys. So you first of all need to have some general knowledge about what this script does. So if you do not have that, then I recommend checking out my past tutorials on this series, guys. Okay, so you guys know this thing right here, fire servers, means it's fire service, the remote event telling to place the tower. Okay, so a certain tower which we just had equipped. And yeah, so this is what this whole thing does. With the slight difference that we have added this thing right here. Okay, and what this does is it like gives a random name to the tower, so it somehow adds some randomization inside of it. Is that even the correct term? I don't know. So this describes the tower, okay, and the rest right here. So toString math random describes that random part of that name. So what happens here is a random number is being selected from 1 to, what is that, 10,000. Okay, so a random number between 1 and 10,000 is being selected. Then that number is being put inside or is being converted inside to a string. Otherwise it would throw out an error if we would try to use a number or an integer value as we use a string. Okay, so this would not work. And then we're just adding that number to our name. And then this whole thing is being fire served, as I said. And then this comes to action. So this, of course, reacts to that fire server thing by placing the whole stuff and fire clienting. So fire clienting as an answer to that fire server thing. So it is fire clienting to our player, of course, with some kind of task called stats GUI. So this is what I like to do in terms of fire clienting, fire servering, so to adding a certain task. And value 4 is that randomized name of our tower. So it is passing these arguments right here. And the first argument is always necessary when performing a fire client. So the first argument is always the player. Now back to this monitor script right here. Once the whole thing has been fire cliented, inside of the tower script, then we are back here again. So then this comes to action. So we are checking if the task is about stats GUI. If that's the case, then we're trying to look for the tower. Okay, T name is our value 4, also known as the randomized tower name. So we are looking for a tower inside of the workspace by performing this find first child, giving the randomized name. Okay, and if the tower was found, then we are creating the stats GUI right here. So we are cloning it from the replicated storage, putting it inside of that tower folder we have created, giving it that randomized name, setting the adornee to the tower's humanoid root part, and then enabling that script which is currently disabled inside of that stats GUI. So if this thing would be enabled, as you guys just have seen in the past, then it would give you out an error because this adornee right here is still undefined, and this script requires an adornee or the correct adornee in order to work properly. Okay, so that's to this. And now let's move on with the stats representation, and in the next video we will cover up leveling up. So like you as a player pay money or cash, so whatever the game's currency is, in order to upgrade your towers and to like deal more damage, have more attacks per second, and just having a different attack, maybe also a different appearance overall. So this is the topic for the next episode, guys. And now let me just quickly cover up these things right here. So where is it? Okay, there we go. So this is about click detector. Now we want to make a new variable called stats folder, which requires the adornee as well, and then parent, and then wait for child stats. And what we want to do next is we want to loop through that stats folder. Stats folder get children. Do. And now let me first of all check if something. Okay, so it is alright. So we can actually delete that tower value I've created earlier. So what we want to do next is we want to loop through that. No. We want to so script.parent stat name text is equal to stat name string stat value and stat changed connect function okay. Now let's put this inside of here, and the last thing we want to do is script parent tower name text equals name players local player Well, let's get rid of this. So let me just first of all check if this works. So if this works, then I will of course explain it to you guys. Okay, as we can see, these are our stats right now. Now, if we would change them, then they should change as well. And there we go, guys. So they seem to change as well. Perfect. Okay. So this is pretty good. Oh, and I've changed them from the client's perspective, which is not what we want to do. Why is he why is he not teleporting back? Okay. So this is a glitch we probably would fix in a future episode, but the stats GUI also works from the server's perspective. So when a server change is being applied to the tower, it still is being replicated from the stats GUI, and that's quite good. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now the last thing we want to do is we want to, of course, display the tower's name. So in order to do that, we should do the following, guys. So we should let's get rid of this right here. Okay, so let's just pass the tower's name as the fourth variable. And we are like, or we start randomizing it right here. So 1 to 10,000. And then we create another argument, so the fourth argument here again, which is the tower's default name, so without any randomization right here. And the tower's randomized name is required right here. That's the reason why we randomize it above here and just applying it to a variable. So this variable stands for the randomized name, and yeah, so we can just apply it right here, and now back to our monitor script. No, to this monitor script. We can make a tname default, and then do stats GUI tower name. No, frame tower name. Frame tower name. Text is our tname default. And now this whole thing should work fine, and we should cover up the big stuff regarding this whole leveling and upgrading a tower in the next episode, guys. And yeah, so as you can see, it works. It works fine, guys. So our stats are being displayed, we can see our name clearly, and we could upgrade if we want to, but we still need to script that upgrading thing, which we will do in the next episode, guys. Okay? Alright, guys, so thanks for watching, and if you have enjoyed this video, then please like, subscribe, and if you subscribe, turn on the notification bell, share this video to all of your friends, check out the join member option, guys, to be able to watch the newest videos before anyone else does, and to receive help from me regarding to my videos, but also regarding to your development topics, to your issues you face while trying to develop for yourself. But also leave me feedback inside of the comment section, guys, and don't forget to check out the description, because I'm making a One Piece game myself. So apart from that One Piece how to make a One Piece game tutorial series, I'm making one myself, and I really would like to see you inside of that Discord, and who knows, maybe we will encounter each other in future in that game when it actually releases, guys. And yeah, so I've also left a link to that place, so to this tower defense place, to this uncopy locked. Okay, guys, uncopy locked tower defense place. Uncopy locked means you can edit it, you can take everything you want from this place. So I left a link to that inside of the description. Don't forget to check it out if you have any issues following this video or if you cannot see the scripts clearly. And with that being said, guys, take care and see you in the next video.